Okay, here's a video on what I think is the most optimized way to install the V3 Plus IAG AOS on a plastic manifold 32-bit, 2008 to 2014 WRX. There's a handful of videos out there. It's media, my boy Tanner has a great guide, as well as PSI LLC. He's got a great series of YouTube shorts that tell you exactly what ports go where. So go check those out as well before you do your install. But I made a few changes here that I think are worth mentioning. Before we begin, two things. Number one, IAG provides you with these clamps, and they're garbage, hot garbage, because they're hard to use, and when if you only grab 2 points of contact, it'll bend out the clamp and it's unusable. I'd highly recommend going with OEM clamps throughout. They're cheap, easy to get. Also, this install is not California emissions friendly. It's going to be dependent on where you're getting your bar done, but you are deleting the sensor by pulling out the contacts, plugging it into the connector on the harness side, and taping it up. Okay, let me pull off this intercooler real quick and I'll start going over the lines, like the routing for the lines. Okay, so this setup is what I think is the most direct. We'll start with our top ports. Here and here, these run down under the manifold and they'll connect to your turbo inlet. Here's a stock inlet for reference. One of the lines is going to go here to this top port and the other to this port here. Then our other top port is the factory IAG line. Goes this way, has a check valve because you don't want to boost going through that. Down there. And we'll do the two coolant lines. These run this way down to the bottom of the AOS. They're going to be the only hoses that say heater core or heater hose. All the rest will be the fuel injection hose. I'm going to skip the outlet because I'll explain that in just a sec. So these are pulling vacuum this way, and these three lines here are the inlet coming off of the engine into the AOS. We'll start with this top one. This one's modified in that I put a 90-degree quick disconnect fitting. It's like a 5/8 barb, and I got it off of Amazon because before it'd be going straight, be routed this way straight, come this way, and then it was going up and over, and I thought that was kind of wasteful, and so I put a 90 on there. This one is just a direct shot into the valve cover here. And also worth mentioning, while you're doing this AOS install, I highly recommend getting new OEM Subaru rear breather hoses, because those things are going to be rock solid, rock hard. By the time you're doing this install, if you have it all apart, you might as well change those hoses as well. Likewise, the other valve cover has one. And this center hose is going behind here, around to the breather on the valve cover. Again, change that back hose as well while you're in there. And now we'll talk about that the drain. The factory setup wants you to run the drain all the way to here, and it splits off into a Y. In this case, I have the bottom line here going directly with a 90 to the breather on the block. That one's kind of a bitch to do. If you have the intake manifold off, it's a lot easier, or if you have the engine out, I would do it then. But so IAG provides a thick, small section of hose that goes on the block breather, goes up, and then in this case, I'm using a 3MI drain hose. And I also bought the IAG adapter to adapt to this line. It's basically a reducer. So now this is functioning as just an outlet for the gases to exit the engine. And if we look here, that's the drain line, the 3MI drain hose. that's going down this way to the side, to the fender side of the engine, down to the turbo drain. It basically replaces the turbo drain. Back here, it's gonna be hard to see. That one is definitely gonna be a turbo WRX install because it's tight, but it's definitely a great upgrade because you get so much more slope, downward slope for the AOS to drain. Some people have issues with the stock routing because it wants you to go all the way around this way and to the block breather to drain, but it's also trying to push gases out. So main thing is you're shortening it up and you're providing a lot more slope, downward slope. And the 3MI hose is made of a great, like a silicone material, comes with that heat shielding as well. And I think that's about it. This setup may not work for you if you're running a front mount setup that has hoses that come out this way. But this is definitely more top mount friendly oriented because I'm planning on staying top mount on this engine setup. But yeah, definitely the 90-degree for this breather hose and the 3MI hose are great upgrades to do. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Good luck with your install and happy wrenching.